Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. My life has been crazy right now, but I'm really excited to show you some of my upcoming projects and renovations. It is all just so exciting. Today is a really fun video. This is kind of like some thoughts that have been in the back of my mind for a long time now. You guys know how much I love accenting architecture with my work, and I also just really like a lot more color than is typically necessary. So I found a way to combine those two things and make wall decals in a really simple way so that you guys can try them too and like customize your own home to make it really exciting and really personalized to you. So yeah, today's video is actually sponsored by Cricut, and I'm so excited. You guys know how much I love my Cricut. I've mentioned it so many times. I've made so many projects at this point with it. The Cricut that I have is the Explorer Air 2, and it can cut so many different materials, like an endless amount of materials. I couldn't even name them all off the top of my head. Here are some of my favorites, but today I'm going to be focusing specifically on removable vinyls and really easy projects. I really love the removable vinyls because you can do so much more with your spaces when it's removable. Like if you live in a dorm or if you're renting like I am, it just makes life so much easier. You can still customize your space. So that is what I will be focusing on today, but it is all DIYs that I personally have not seen anyone do before, so it's really exciting new ways to upgrade your space. A little side note that I do want to share: if you don't have a Cricut, if you're still debating getting one, or if you cannot afford one at this point in time, these DIYs are still possible without a Cricut. You can do them with just these vinyls from Cricut. They are so versatile, and you could totally hand cut them if you needed to. It's not going to be as easy, as quick, or as efficient, obviously, but I did just want to share that because I know there are some people who may want to try these and they don't have a Cricut at this point in time, and these vinyls can do so much. You can literally customize your space in any way, shape, or form, so I did want to share that little bit of information. I'm really excited to show you guys these ideas, so let's get into it. You may have seen the process of me renovating my living room, which included this fun little painted circle to zone my keys and light switches. It acts as a little focal area and also adds a fun pop of color. And of course, not all apartments allow you to paint, so I wanted to emulate something very similar using removable vinyl so that more of you guys can have these fun shapes on your walls. I decided to tackle this light switch in my bedroom because I feel like that room could use a lot more color. The first thing that I did was take off the light switch cover so that I could measure how big the opening it needed to be in my vinyl so that it could stay, functional. Then I came up with a little design plan doodle and eventually took it to my computer and made this final shape. I use Adobe Illustrator for anyone wondering, just because it's my personal preference, and then all I did was just load that image into my Cricut design space, and you're going to want to remove that center portion if it's not already removed, just to make sure that everything cuts right. Illustrator actually allows me to see the width and height of my drawing, so that allowed me to put the exact width and height into my Cricut to ensure that it fits perfectly around my light switch. Then I just sent it to cut and it was ready to go. I just needed to set up the vinyl. This is the vinyl that I'm using. It's this really pretty orange color. I am using the standard grip extra long mat because my design is a little bit longer than 12 inches. I just applied the vinyl to the mat using a squeegee, and I had my artistic director Piper help with this part because it can get very tiring. Then I loaded the mat into the Cricut and pressed the button for it to cut. This is just a reminder again that if you don't have a Cricut, you can still follow all of these other steps and make some really cool freehand cuts for this vinyl. It's not the most ideal and easy scenario, but this vinyl is really versatile. Once it was done cutting, I made sure that I had approval from my artistic director, and then I went ahead and removed any excess vinyl from the design. Then I just take some transfer tape and I apply it over top so I can easily apply the design to the wall. Before you put it up against the wall, make sure to remove the center of the transfer tape away first with an X-Acto knife, just to make sure that it doesn't get in the way of the switches and so that you can have it flat during application. Also, make sure to focus on the center while you're applying it, just to make sure that it doesn't cover anything important. After you squeegee it in place, you can go ahead and put the switch cover back in place, and this is what it turned out like. I love it so much. It is so customizable with colors and shapes and even cutouts, and I also repeated this same process to make a round version for my living room area. However, I was not a huge fan of the color in the space in the end. I wanted it to be more slime and less apple. So this is a great example of what it looks like to remove this vinyl. It is super easy and causes no damage. Next, I've been wanting to do something on the ceiling here to help lead into the kitchen more, so I got doodling and this is what I came up with since I just love arches. Then I went ahead and brought my doodle idea into Illustrator and this is what I came up with. I made separate little images for each arch that I wanted to print. Then I just repeated the whole process from part 1 again, so I loaded all the images into the design space, I set it as simple and I scaled it to the correct size according to my Illustrator. Then I sent it to cut and I got started with the vinyl. These are the 3 colors that I decided on. I felt like the room could use a little more of each of them. And I once again had some help to cut and apply the vinyl to my mat with a squeegee just to make sure that everything went smoothly, and then I loaded it into the Cricut. This cut was very important and it needed lots of supervision to make sure that it came out correctly. Once each color was cut, I removed any excess vinyl and used some transfer tape again to be able to apply it to the ceiling. And Dylan actually volunteered as tribute to help me install these, so we basically just started at one corner and then applied them all the way to the other end just to make sure that they all fit correctly. You're going to want to make sure that you spend a lot of time with the squeegee to make sure that it sticks to the ceiling before you remove the transfer tape, otherwise you could definitely run into some problems here. But this is what it looked like all finished and I think it's so fun. Again, I think it's so customizable. It could be any other shape leading into the space and it can just make your home feel really cool and unique. Okay, this last one is definitely my favorite. It is giving me office wall graphic design and I just love commercial spaces. So this is what I am working with. It is my boring hallway that I have definitely neglected. And this is what I came up with for it, just like a fun doodle, and I just cannot wait. So I went ahead and measured out the hallway, which is really important to make sure that everything prints at the right size. And this is the layout that I came up with so that I could go ahead and make artboards in Illustrator at those same sizes with the right size gaps as well. So I could draw one long continuous doodle that will look right on the wall. Then once again, I brought each of these individual images into the Cricut design space. For some of them, I put multiple into one just to save vinyl when possible. And once again, I resized everything to match the size corresponding to Illustrator files and sent them to cut. I just used the black removable vinyl for this and I applied them to the extra long mat with a squeegee and then I loaded them into the Cricut. Once they were done cutting, I would again remove any excess vinyl and add the transfer tape over top. And for these ones, I would actually label what number they were in the order as well as what side was the top because that helped me so much when it came time to install them. Then I would just apply them to the wall with a squeegee. It was super simple and then I would remove the transfer tape and it all worked out, which was really exciting. This one was a little more time consuming because there were so many pieces to connect, but it was so worth it because this is how it turned out. I love it so much. It helps lead the eye down the hallway and it also helps people find the bathroom too, which is really handy. This is a great alternative for someone who doesn't like really busy wall art. It's just simple, but it still makes a statement. And I just love how simple and customizable it is. And I definitely think that I will do more versions of these for others in the future. I hope you guys loved these decal ideas as much as I did. I think that they're so customizable, which is the amazing thing about it. Even if you're someone who doesn't like color as much as I do, you could totally do this same thing, but with neutrals. You could switch up the shapes. It's literally just, there are endless possibilities. I think the main point of this video is just to kind of like step back and be like, what can I do with a decal that's not just putting something on my wall? I could put it around and zone an area with light switches. I could put it on my ceiling and make a new entrance to a space. I could put it in my hallway with all of these different surfaces and make all of those surfaces look like one and lead your eye down the hallway. Like there's so many different possibilities that you can do architecturally, and it's literally just vinyl decals. So that was what I wanted to share. I think it's just so exciting and inspiring. I just love this kind of stuff. I want to thank Cricut again for sponsoring today's video, and I want to thank you for being here for today's video, and I'll see you guys all next week for some more design stuff. Bye guys!